Andy Dalton got the ball with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and a touchdown wins the game. And here's the thing, if you can pull out a victory here, pretty much everything is forgiven. We have very short memories as sports fans. And this is where the big dogs come out. If Andy Dalton can get a come from behind win last night in the fourth quarter, we pretty much forget about all the crap he's been through. This is where Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers excel. However, Andy Dalton was unable to make it happen. Last night, the Houston Texans beat the Bengals 13-9. Now, this was a huge game for the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback, Andy Dalton. In the first week of the regular season, he threw 4 interceptions and lost a fumble. It was a historically bad performance. Dalton really struggled. And now rewatching the game from last week, there were some of those mistakes were either justifiable or they were just really good plays by the Ravens defense. But last night on Thursday Night Football, that was different. The Bengals were in need of a win, and the Texans were starting a rookie quarterback. It's a perfect scenario. I know the Texans have a talented roster, but you got to win this game last night. Last night, despite all the struggling, despite everything the Bengals went through, the Bengals found themselves with a chance to win in the fourth quarter, and yet Andy Dalton simply was not good enough. That says all you need to know. I figured out what Andy Dalton is. This may be a huge shock to everybody, but listen close. Andy Dalton is not Aaron Rodgers. And he's not Tom Brady. I know that's shocking, right? Andy Dalton is average. 7 years into his career, Andy Dalton has peaked. Andy Dalton cannot win you games. He's a fine quarterback. But in order to win, you need to give Andy Dalton a massive amount of support. This year, I thought the Bengals would be fantastic. They have a ton of they have a ton of offensive weapons. This was their year. I thought, Andy Dalton's going to step up and make it happen. I was wrong. The Bengals have A.J. Green, John Ross, a breakout star, Alex Erickson. They have Tyler Eifert, a great tight end. They have everything you need. And yet that's still not enough for Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton could win a couple playoffs games if you gave him everything. If Andy Dalton had a great defense, an amazing offensive line, and the weapons he has at receiver, then he could be a winner. But that's not saying much. Here's the thing about Andy Dalton. If you switched places, him and Aaron Rodgers, if Aaron Rodgers comes to the Bengals and Andy Dalton goes to the Packers, the Bengals are in the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers would take the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Andy Dalton isn't capable of doing that. He needs a ton of support. Andy Dalton is an average quarterback. End of story. And Andy Dalton had a chance to redeem himself in the fourth quarter last night, but he blew it. I've sold all my stock on Andy Dalton. He's an average quarterback, and that's the end of the story.